How's it going, everyone? Long time no see. Hope you're all good. It's been a while since I did my last video, a couple of months. I did actually intend to do one and did start to do one about 3-4 weeks ago before I went on holiday, but my microphone died halfway through and needed charging, so I had to scrap that. So the video that I was going to do then, I'm going to do now. Sorry that you've had to wait so long, and this is just going through my CD collection again. And it's the next part, so we're up to You this time. So bands beginning with You is mainly U2, to be honest with you, but there's a few other bits and bobs going on. We've got a few other decent things coming up in the future when I get round to them. So hope you enjoy this one. We'll start off with, say, with U2. Majority of their early albums I've got, well, majority of their albums really. First one, Boy, first album, fairly decent. Not their best, obviously, but pretty good. This one's got I Will Follow, which is probably the most famous track on it. The Electric Company, pretty good as well. So fairly decent start from them. Then we have October, second album. U2 are a band that, obviously from Ireland, they get, I would say, a fair amount of stick. They're not the most popular band in the world, although they are popular, but a lot of people really kind of hate on them. October anyway, second album, Gloria is probably the main track on here, the most famous one. They still weren't really at their peak at this time, but yeah, they get a lot of heat. Bono's not the most popular guy in the world, and I think unfairly, to be honest with you, I think they're a good band, done some really good stuff. A lot of good music throughout the years, some really excellent stuff. They're not my favourite band, but there's a lot of, I think, yeah, they've done some really great songs and some really good albums. War is the third album. This is when they started to become a lot more popular, a lot more sort of famous, if you like. This one's got Sunday Bloody Sunday on it, which is one of their biggest tracks. And New Year's Day, which I think is a really cool track. Two Hearts Beat as One's on this one as well. So a good place to start, I think. If you've not listened to much of their stuff before, I think this is a really good album. This one came out in sort of mid-80s, 83 this one came out, so really good. This one, Unforgettable Fire, I think is an absolute cracking album, really, yeah, excellent. Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois did the production on this one. This is when they first really came to my attention, when this album came out, with things like Pride in the Name of Love, which was a huge single in the UK, and the title track, The Unforgettable Fire. Some other really good songs on here are Wire, which I think I really do enjoy that one. Some really cool guitar work. I think Edge is a kind of underrated guitarist. He's not like a technical guitar player, but I think he's quite creative, a bit like Andy Summers of the Police or something, where, yeah, just quite innovative really. 4th of July, Bad, MLK, some really good stuff on here, but really, yeah, good, atmospheric, well produced, superb album, The Unforgettable Fire. Next one I've got is Wide Awake in America, which has got a couple of live tracks on it, Bad and sort of Homecoming from the previous album, and another couple of studio tracks on there as well, Three Sunrises and Love Comes Tumbling. This is a dual case Casualty, but yeah, quite decent. I think I picked this up car boot sale, something like that, fairly cheaply, so maybe a charity shop, you never know. Can never really remember where I get everything from. But yeah, decent enough, say 4 tracks. If you find it cheaply, then grab it. Next one is The Joshua Tree, probably my favourite album of theirs. Just an excellent album, again, all the way through. Loads of hit singles and just really good tracks on here, like Where the Streets Have No Name, Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, With or Without You, Bullet the Blue Sky. Just every track's a banger really. Run to Stand Still, Red Hill Mining Town's excellent. Exit's a really good track as well, but yeah, nothing to complain about with this album. This is, you know, if you only listen to one U2 album, this would probably be the one. This came out in 1987, and do remember it very well. Just a superb, yeah, almost faultless album, I would say. Next one is Rattle and Hum. They did a kind of movie, not really a concert movie, but a documentary of them like on the road. So there's live stuff on here. There's new tracks as well. So there's another Jewel Case Casualty. Be nice to get a bunch of jewel cases and just replace a load of stuff, but that would take a fair while. The lead single was Desire, I think. I think that was their first, maybe #1 in the UK. Could be wrong. But it's got live versions of Pride in the Name of Love, and it's got, yeah, some other live stuff on there. God Part 2 was a B-side, a live version of that. Actually, Silver and Gold I'm thinking of. God Part 2 is a really cool track on here. You've got a couple of covers like Helter Skelter, All Along the Watchtower, and you've got things like Angel of Harlem, When Love Comes to Town, which were pretty big singles. I think there's a lot of good stuff on here, to be honest with you. It's an album that I do enjoy. There's a couple of tracks that I skip. I don't think the covers are particularly fantastic. They're, you know, definitely skippable. But the live stuff's really good, and the studio tracks that they've, you know, come up with are also pretty cool. But this is probably at the point where people started to think that they were starting to disappear up their own arses. But still a very good album, I think. I think it's, yeah, good. And I think the movie's worth a watch too. Next, this is a single of The Fly, which was from their next album, which I'll show you in a second. But The Fly had a little bit of a different style about it. Bono had his different image with his fly sunglasses. You can see that on the back there. But a good single from a really good album, which was, a lot of people say this is their best, Achtung Baby. I think it is good. I don't think it's as good as the Joshua Tree. It's definitely got a bit of a different sound about it, with things like The Fly, with things like Zoo Station. Mysterious Ways as well is a different kind of track for them as well. Even better than The Real Thing's a good track. One's a really good ballad as well. I think there's a few tracks on here that I'm not overly great about, like Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses and maybe Until the End of the World. I think they're kind of, you know, a little bit bland, but a really good album. And yeah, a lot of people like think this is their best album, which, you know, I think it's up there with their best albums, but I do prefer a couple of their earlier ones. Zooropa was the next album out. This is, once again, it sort of goes on from Achtung Baby, a more electronic sound, definitely a more experimental album. Well, I remember when this came out, I was not massively keen on it, but it has grown on me quite a bit. The big singles, Lemon, for example, and you've got things like Zooropa, you've got Numb, which is a really cool track as well. I think it's a good album, man. I think it's, you know, very different to what they've done before. They were trying something new, I guess, and I think for the most part it works all right. I think it's a decent listen. Next one I've got is Pop, which once again doesn't get great reviews. I think it's okay. It's definitely their poppiest, most kind of commercial, if you like. Discotheque was the lead single from this one. I've not listened to it loads of times, I'm not going to lie, but I think it's, you know, enjoyable enough. I don't think it's, you know, quite as shit as people think it make it out to be, but give it a listen, see what you think. Then they went for How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, which is a bit more back to the rockier side of things. Decent enough album. Vertigo was the lead single. But yeah, it's got some good stuff on it. But yeah, it's a bit more like back to their traditional sound, if you like. Pretty good. And all That You Can't Leave Behind. This was their sort of comeback, if you like. This had obviously Beautiful Day on it, which was a massive single, which I think is okay. Stuck in a Place You Can't Get Out Of, I think, is a really good track. Elevation I really like as well. They were pretty much the 3 singles. Not, I don't think it's as great as people necessarily claim it to be. This album I think is decent, but yeah, not as good as their earlier stuff, but still good enough. This one I've not checked out too many times, No Line on the Horizon. This is one of their later ones. When did this come out? Can I even see? I don't know if I've even listened to this like more than once. Yeah, who knows. But yeah, one of their later albums, and that's the last sort of studio album that I've got of theirs. Obviously they did the one which they gave to everyone on iTunes, etc., and people got up in arms because they were, you know, kind of almost forced to take their new album. I think there was a little bit of shit that people gave them, probably needlessly. If you don't want it, just delete it, do you know what I'm saying? This one is Best of 1980 to 1990. This is the double CD version, so you've got the early singles and the B-sides from the early part of their career. So pretty good. You get a really nice booklet with it as well, which sort of tells you about the, you know, the singles, etc., what chart position they did, etc., etc. So that's really nice. And I've got the second part of that, which is the Best of 1990 to 2000. So once again, similar to before, the second CD is more kind of remixy on this one, but still pretty cool. And say really nice booklet that comes with it as well, which you know, that's why I like to collect a CD, because I like, you know, the bump that comes with it. You know, and yeah, something to look at while you're listening to it, I guess. This one is this was given away to like fan club members, which I'm not a member of their fan club, but it's apparently, I saw it at a car boot sale and I thought that looks interesting. This, as it turns out, is I think a bootleg version of it, because I think the original version only came out in a slipcase. It's basically remixes of, you know, stuff from the sort of Axel Baby / Zooropa era. Even so, this is still very valuable, but I think the proper original version of Melon remixes for Propaganda is yeah, quite sought after. But I'm still happy to pick this up. That's pretty cool. Another singles collection, 18. Yeah, it's just the singles basically. There's a couple of bonus tracks on here, like new tracks. One's U2 and Green Day. But still, yeah, pretty cool. That's it for U2. You'll be glad to know if you're not a fan of theirs. We have got other stuff. We've got Udo Dirkschneider was the lead singer of Accept in their glory years, if you like. This is Master Cuter Alive. This is a double CD, live CD. It's pretty good. He does quite a lot of Accept covers on here as well, on the second one especially. So that's pretty cool. Things like Metal Heart, Balls to the Wall, Burning, etc., and Fast as a Shark. So pretty good. A live CD, that one. I've got some UFO stuff. Fawcett, this one. This is the classic rock edition of Fawcett, which is one of their better albums. Obviously Michael Schenker on guitar, great guitar player. So this one's yeah, 2000 remaster basically, but still pretty cool. I've not got loads of their stuff, but I think they're a good band, a classic band. I've got their classic Strangers in the Night live album, which is always worth listening to. So yeah, pretty cool. And also I've got the Best of UFO as well, which is just a standard greatest hits, which I picked up fairly cheaply, I would imagine. So that's that one. Now we come to another divisive band, Ugly Kid Joe. I think unfairly, you know, slagged off a lot of the time. Obviously there's the Everything About You, which is on this one, As Ugly as They Wanna Be, which is their first EP. But I think a good kind of metal band really. Madman's a really good track on here. Obviously it's got Everything About You as well, but not a bad start for an EP. Obviously very popular, like big chart hit for the single. Then we've got America's Least Wanted, which is their first album, which is honestly a great album. It's really like catchy and cool. It's got some good heavy riffs on it. Things like Neighbour, super catchy. Cats in the Cradle, which was a big single as well, which is another reason why I think people don't necessarily like him. This has got Everything About You on it. It's got Madman on it. God Damn Devil, which is a really good heavy track as well. So Damn Cool, which I think is a really good track also. So a good album. This for me is their best album. Menace to Sobriety. I think this one's pretty fucking amazing from start to finish. Some really good heavy riffs on here. Yeah, just a really good catchy album. Key tracks probably God to start off with. Milkman's Son was a single that's really catchy. Jesus Rode a Harley, 10 out of 10. It's just got loads of every track on here is excellent, and still I think sounds pretty cool to this day. Third album is Motel California. This one's a little bit different. They've kind of probably gone hard on the drink and drugs by this point. Another casualty of the jewel case variety. So yeah, this one not so good. A little bit of a drop off in quality on this one. There's still some cool tracks on here, but it's also some weird tracks like Sandwich, which is, you know, cool, but, you know, quite odd. So yeah, not necessarily a high recommendation on this one. They've still done a few albums recently which I've checked out and haven't been super impressed with, but the first couple of proper albums are well worth checking out. This one I don't really know. I think I may have got this off my brother or something. This is Unearth, The Oncoming Storm. This comes with, I think, a bonus disc as well, which doesn't even seem to be in there. So yeah, not over familiar with this one. Probably should check out. It's probably metalcore, I would imagine, because that is a lot of what he sort of handed over to me when he gave me his, you know, CD collection. But yeah, so I'll have to check that out. If you think it's any good, let me know. This CD case is fucked. Uncle Never Neverland. This is kind of a bit weird. This is sort of electronic, slightly indie-ish. I've listened to it a few times and it is quite decent, but I can't really tell you too much about it. But Never Neverland by Uncle anyway. And the last one I've got here is Urban Dance Squad, which, yeah, Mental Floss for the Globe. This is a I used to love this, man, back in the day, but then I sort of re-got it on CD, and not necessarily quite as good as I remember, but still pretty cool. Things like Fast Lane, which samples the famous Eagles track Life in the Fast Lane. No Kids, really cool. But yeah, it's a cool, it's like sort of a hip-hoppy, rocky album. When did it even come out, man? 1990. So yeah, a long time ago, man. I was 18 when this came out. But yeah, I used to really like it. I think they might be Dutch. I'm going to say that they are. Could be wrong. But yeah, Urban Dance Squad, a decent album. They've done a couple of albums, but I remember listening to this a lot back in the day. So yeah, that's it for you. Hope you enjoyed the mainly U2-iness of it. We'll be going on to V next. I'm pretty sure my next video is going to be the I haven't done a ranking for a long time, man. So Van Halen's going to be the next ranking, so I'll rank all their studio albums. Most of their stuff's pretty decent, to be fair. There's not too many albums that are subpar. So we've got Van Halen, the rest of V, then we're into W, which is like, yeah, loads of really cool stuff. And I'll be doing rankings for Whitesnake. I'll be doing a ranking for the Wild Hearts, Wasp as well. I've got all their albums. Someone else, can't think. But yeah, so yeah, I will still keep doing videos. I'll try and do them a bit more regularly than obviously I have been doing. But yeah, I've had quite a lot on with like work and just other stuff going away. So Yeah, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff. Obviously, go back through my older stuff, 'cause there's a fair bit there, and I'll try and post a bit more regularly. But yeah, Van Halen will be the next video. So if you're a fan of theirs, then yeah, make sure you're subscribed and stuff, so you know when that one comes up. But yeah, in the meantime, thanks for watching. I appreciate you still watching my videos, and we'll catch you all next time. Take it steady. Cheers.